from a facility standpoint, there's nowhere better in the league for training camp. We get everything we need, here. With the 3 indoor fields, all our operations inside the, Grand Park facility, the great practice space, the space for y'all over here with the media. If we can keep the weather like this, it would be just awesome. But happy to be here. Let me just give you updates, and then you start firing questions as we go along. So we'll start Spencer Ware on PUP. He'll be a couple weeks, he's got a little muscle injury. So he'll be down a week, maybe 2. I'll say 2 now just to be conservative. We put Fountain on NFI. He rolled his ankle about 2 weeks ago, working out. It's not going to be long. It could be any day now. I mean, we're just kind of waiting. He's working through it, but it could be any day. It's not severe. It's nothing major. As of me leaving the building, that was it at this point. Oh, Wells, sweet shorts. That's a whole new look. When we start practice, all right, so when we left here after vet mini camp, we had a bunch of guys that, really weren't practicing yet. We're going to limit some guys. They're going to practice, but we're going to work them back in. One of the things that the league has found, and we've found, that this first 7 to 10 days, this almost acclimation period, if you hadn't been practicing, getting back into this thing, we're going to be smart. We're not going to just rush guys back in. So Andrew, Deion Kane, Gathers, Doyle, Phillips, Ross Travis, all those guys will work back into practice. They're practicing, but you might, as we start out tomorrow, Friday, they're going to work slowly back in. They're going, but we'll work them slowly back in this first 7 to 10 days. All right? Time's yours. Fire away.
Andrew's related to the cap.
Yeah, just working him back in. I mean, he didn't do anything this spring, but making sure we got, we don't want him to get out here and have a setback, and we've become we're so process oriented and taking the right. I mean, if we learned anything, when I walked in the door through the first injury he had, let's just make sure we're taking the right steps. Let's look. We're getting ready to play the Chargers. That's where our mindset is right now. So making sure we're taking all the right steps with all these guys. From Jack Doyle to Deion and Ross, who both are coming off ACLs. Let's make sure we do the right things and take the right steps.
Chris, has Andrew done any live throwing?
Yeah, there's arms it's in good shape.
Bill Polian always said the toughest thing to do in the league is go from good to great. Is that a philosophy that you agree with?
Oh, absolutely it is. I think I talked about it at the end of the year. No, it is, and your team's got to grow together. They got to take that that next step, and it's something we're going to work to do.
We talked about where this team was when you walked in the door, and where they are right now. Does it surprise you how fast this happened?
I don't know. I mean, we walked in and, when we went to Kansas City, we flipped that pretty quickly. Now, we had some really good players on the roster, but we flipped it pretty quickly. I just think if you work and you're all on the same page of what you're looking for and the players you're wanting to acquire, you can get it turned around pretty quickly. There's so many avenues to acquire players, and we've talked about this a lot. Just because a guy's cut, just because he doesn't work out another place, just because he's on the practice squad, doesn't mean that player's not going to. It might just be circumstances, might be the right fit for us. And I think being on the same page with the staff, knowing exactly, what we're looking for, the type of character we're looking for, and football character we're looking for, and the type of skill set we're looking for in our players, that helps accelerate the process.
When you walked out of Arrowhead Stadium in January, were you struck by how far the team had come, or how much further you've got to go?
Well, look, we're disappointed because we got our ass kicked, but I also knew it was the first step in the journey. Everybody thinks a Super Bowl winner ought to just, all of a sudden you build it up and you win the Super Bowl. I mean, I do look back to when Bill was here. And I think it was year 6 before they won their first playoff game. So it takes time. I mean, the journey, you got to enjoy the journey, and you got to build, you got to grow. You're going to have some failures along the way, and you're going to have some disappointments along the way that you have to be able to deal with and get over. The one thing we talk about this a lot, is like I don't ever want us to have any kind of institutional arrogance to where we think we've got it made. That's not how I am. That's not how Frank is. That's not how our owner is. And we want to make sure we're always growing and learning and working and moving forward. More pissed because we got our ass whipped and I didn't think we performed like we were capable of performing. But sometimes, it happens in this league.
Chris, any talks with Anthony and his representation?
No, I'm not going to get into contract stuff. I'll never do that with y'all. I'll tell you this. We always have lines in the water. And you know my feelings on wanting to keep our players who perform and do the right things.
Hey, Chris, how much is, knowing that there's so much outside hype surrounding you guys, how much does it help having the characters of a guy like Frank, Andrew, some of the other veterans to help some of these young kids who played a big part for you guys last season, who could kind of maybe get a little overzealous about the hype? Yeah, that's really good. Handling expectations. Look, expectations are good. It's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But I think as you visit with our players and watch our players work, look, every year's a new year. It is. I mean, I've talked about this a lot. I don't want us to be, and Frank doesn't want, either one of us, we don't want to be a momentum team. We don't want to play off of momentum. I just think that burns you in the long run. We want to continue to work to get better. Frank is outstanding at this, and he's outstanding at setting the message. And I think the message is getting through to your players when they're repeating it, and then they're living it. So you got to work. You got to work, and you got to earn it. You got to come together about as a team. So I love about training camp. I ain't gonna lie to you. I love training camp. I love coming. I've been excited about it for the last 10 days to get up here and get ready to go. I love watching the competition. I love watching the team come together. Expectations are good. That's not a bad thing. Embrace it, and let's go to work, and let's have fun, and let's compete, and let's get better every day.
You mentioned earlier that you felt like you could come a long way in a short period of time. That being said, how far have you come? I guess is what I'm saying.
The roster.
Without saying you're necessarily winning the Super Bowl this year, but
no. Look, we got a good football team. I'm not gonna shy away from that.
Yeah.
We got a good football team, but that doesn't mean we're guaranteed wins. Mm-hmm. You gotta go earn it. You gotta go work. You gotta go perform. You have to come together as a team. That every year's different. So that locker room every year's different. You hope you keep your core players together, which we're working to do. And those core players help really guide and teach and show the new guys the way. And I just believe that each year as you just start over. And you got to earn it in this league, man. You got to earn it. It's a hard league, and it's hard to win. It's freaking hard to win. I don't care how good you are. It is hard I don't care how talented you are. It's hard to win. You got to come together as a team, and you got to play together.
And along those same lines, you have a team that relies a lot on some of these younger players who develop really quickly. At the same time, they've never had the expectations they currently have. You talk about football character a lot. Is this where it plays a role, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. We look into our guys do a really good job when they're digging on the character of players. Digging into, how driven are they? What kind of mindset did they have? What kind of growth? Do they have a growth mindset? People that have growth mindsets want to learn. They want to be coached. They're okay getting criticized because they take that criticism the right way. And I think we have, you'd like to say you wish you had 100%, but I'd say the majority of our team does.
Chris, when you look at your roster right now, is there a position group on either side of the ball where you're really eager to see what happens over the next few weeks?
I think we got good competition throughout. I think if you look at the O-line, we were really happy with LaRaven Clark. this spring. It's different when you get the pads on. He's got to continue the growth. But that competition, between him, Garcia, Joe Haig, all those, that 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th linemen, those 5 spots, which how critical and important I think those are. On the D-line, there's some depth, and there's going to be some competition between the young players with Banagoo getting some rush time, and Muhammad and Jerry Green, and I think you can look throughout the roster and you can see where the competition is. I think there's going to be real competition at wideout. It's going to be fun to watch that group compete because they all have special role. Like Zach Pascal, I think it goes understated how Zach played last year. I thought Zach Pascal played really well for us. That was a June claim, and he comes in and competes his butt off and makes it. Play unselfish, plays on special teams, plays any spot you ask him to play. Deion Kane, man. First, I'm very proud of the kid. To watch him work over the last year has been, I think Deion will tell you this. He's probably grown and matured more in the last year. Sometimes setbacks can be a positive, and he turned it into one. Man, he worked his ass off. And, we'll limit him here early, but, last 2 days have been pretty fun to watch.
A guy who's been huge in this turnaround that we never hear from, we never see is Ed. What makes him good at his job?
I haven't talked, I've talked a lot about, I haven't talked a lot about it. Look, my relationship with Ed goes back to Kingsville. We've known each other 25 years. He was young then, and then became a GA for me, and he's unbelievable when it comes to communicating with coaches and seeing the fit of the player, being able to watch the tape and know how that guy is going to fit. He's a huge asset to us, much like a lot of our guys is, but he's pretty good at his job.
Be hard to keep him.
Huh?
Be hard to keep him.
We'll see.
When you have leaders on offense like Andrew Luck and a leader on defense like Darius Leonard who are as humble as they are, what's that do for the rest of the roster?
When your best players are your best workers, your best teammates, it makes life a lot easier. You just look at teams around in any sport. The best teams that play and win and go off to do special things, that leader is usually their best player is usually pretty special. And I think we're fortunate. I don't just think it's those two. I think you can put Ryan Kelly in the mix. I think you can put Quentin Nelson in the mix. I think you can put Costanzo in the mix. I think you can put Denico Autry, Jabal Shear, Justin Houston. I think we got a lot of really good guys on this team that have the right type of stuff that succeeds.
This defense that you play, the teams that have been successful at it in the past, like your Chicago, they had tons of turnovers, and it was philosophical, it was cultural, that kind of thing. Are you guys getting closer to that, do you think?
No, I thought you saw it the second half of the season, and a lot of, look, it's one of the things last night looking at to me, turnovers, but then capitalizing, getting points off turnovers. That's a big deal. And we're not where we need to be in that area. I think it was 2.7 last year. Needs to be over 3 in our minds. But it's something that you can't just say, let's go create turnovers. You got to practice it. It's got to be, it's contagious. It's effort. Those kind of things all attribute to turnover. And then when you got a guy like Darius, who I think he's rare at it. He's like, I'm telling you, he's like Charles Tillman was. I texted Tillman during the season. I said, we have the linebacker version of you playing. That play he made versus Oakland when he knocked the ball out, I thought it was Charles. You could put Charles Tillman strip tape on, and it's the same type of stuff.
What did he say to that text?
What's that?
What did he say to the text?
I'll keep that between Charles.
But you don't teach that. No one taught Darius to do that, right? He
just did it, but he did it in college. Usually it comes out.
Right.
Charles did it in college.
That's what I'm saying, so you're looking for players that have some innate ability that way?
Yeah,
right?
it's not, you don't, they can get better at it, but guys that cause turnovers, guys that get interceptions, it usually travels.
Yeah.
What is it about Matt Eberflus that makes him the defense coordinator he is? Because not many people probably knew much about him last year.
I've known Matt a while. I mean, I've known Matt, about 6, 7 years because of Rod Marinelli. Yeah, their time. And Rod used to tell me that, man, I have a coach here that's going to be really special, in Matt Eberflus. Look, he's demanding. He knows what he wants. He's a really good teacher. The standard that he holds those guys to and accountable is hard to do every day, and you have to do it every day. You can't. You can never rest on the way we practice and we play in this scheme, and he demands it from them every day. And look, players respect that. They don't want an inconsistent guy that one day you let him get away with something, but then the next day you're calling him out for it. No, there's a consistent message that is relayed every single day to every player. I don't care who you are. I mean, every player on the roster, on the defensive side of the ball, understands that if they don't perform to the standard, it's going to cut into their play time.
How much does that help a locker room when that coach doesn't play the favoritism game of treating Darius one way and then the guy who's on the low on the depth chart a different way? It seems like it kind of has a snowball effect in the positive.
I think you see that. I think you see that with Frank too. I mean, I think with any good coach, they're consistent. I mean, they're consistent, and I mean, they might not. Certain guys might earn more leeway, but when the tape goes on, there's a one way we're going to play. Either you're going to play that way, or you're not going to see the field.
Coach, do you think you guys will be in full pads pretty similar amount of what you were in last year?
Yeah, it'll be a tough physical camp. First 6 or 7 days, just the studies have showed us that that's when most injuries pop up. And we're trying to do. I mean, we are exhausting ourselves on trying to figure out how to avoid, injuries. They happen. Part of the game. It's going to happen. I know it is. It happens every year. We have to go find answers when they do happen. But no, we'll get after it. Yeah, we'll get after it.
Okay.
Chris, you're gonna have these stands filled with people over the next several weeks. What's your message to fans this year? What do you want from them? What can they do to help the team?
Their support's critical. And we want them to come along the journey with us. I mean, it took me a year, but I figured it out. I mean, I guess that's why we've been more open. I've grown in that area. It's not an area that I would tell you that coming in the door was going to be a complete, a strong point for me. But, I get them, and we want them there. We need them there. Their support energizes us. That's why we have training camp, man. This is a tremendous opportunity to see the players up close and personal and get to know them, get to watch them, and it doesn't cost you anything. And I think I've talked about this enough, but there's more than the season ticket holder. There's more than the suite holder, man. We've got to reach out and to every fan. Not everybody can afford to go to a game. Man, what a great opportunity! And every fan matters to us. I don't take any of them for granted. Never will. And thankful that for the people that come out and support us. But we want to get as many people as we can to training camp. This is a great opportunity to see our team.